Let's grow mustard greens.
Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above.
Hi, welcome to my organic garden. Today, we're going to talk about mustard greens. Not only are they beautiful, they're very nutritious, and in my opinion, they're the easiest leafy green vegetable that you can grow here in the South. Now, where I live in subtropical Florida, they love our winters, and so it's a great vegetable to grow in the winter. Now, before we get started, I don't want you to get confused with that mustard and this mustard. It's not the same. You can't make this mustard out of these plants. And this mustard is not the same as the mustard that those plants grow from. Look at the difference in the seeds. Look how tiny they are. Now today I'm going to talk about how to transplant your young plants. And the reason I'm going to start there is because in my garden I haven't planted them on purpose for many years because I let a plant bolt or go to seed and it reseeds itself and spreads its seeds all over the garden. You're not going to believe this. Those seeds know just when to come up, the beginning of September. So if you are planting yours for the first time, the beginning of September through probably the beginning of November is the perfect time to plant them. And they will grow right through the winter. And you can harvest leaves from them 2 months later, and all the way up until April or so when it gets too hot and they start to bolt again. So it's a great cycle. So today I'm going to show you how to prepare your bed for those young plants to go in, and I'm going to show you how to transplant them. So it's going to be a demonstration, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to care for them so that they give you lots of leafy green vegetables to eat through the winter, and you can also freeze them. They do great frozen. And while I'm doing that, I like to talk when I'm working, so there'll be a few pointers along the way about how to build your beds into healthy beds using the materials that you have on hand. So let's get going. The first thing you want to do is clear out all the vegetation, but don't throw those weeds away. Throw them in a 5-gallon bucket, add water, and then they're going to stink for 2 to 4 weeks. But that's a good thing. That water is great fertilizer. In fact, just water your new greens with that fertilizer. They're going to love it. So I'm just going to clear off the leaves that are left here and pine needles. We have pine needles on the property, so we use that as a mulch. And no worries about using pine needles as far as some people say, well, it'll make your soil acid. Well, I need my soil to be acid because my soil is naturally alkaline. It stays at like 7.0. It'll go up further than that if I don't add these amendments that will help keep it, down to 7.0. Another ant. Bed has kind of broken down. I'm going to have to reestablish all of my beds when I get them ready for the spring, because I didn't do anything except cover them up with leaves. Okay, so I've loosened up the soil with this pitchfork, Now I'm just kind of breaking up the clods that are on top. Hey, it's me, popping in here real quick. I wanted to show you something that I made for you, and it's free. I have garden plans at a glance. Just hit that link below and print it out. It's going to help you. And as a little bonus, I also made my own veggie list that has worked for me through the seasons here in Florida. And I also have a list of where I get my seeds. All right, let's get back to work. So what you want to do when you're transplanting just about anything, you try not to disturb the roots. So that means you're going to get a hole ready right here, big enough for a whole shovelful of plant and everything to go down in there. Just pick up the whole thing. That way you haven't disturbed the roots, you've only moved it. So maybe a better way to think about it isn't really transplanting, which it is, but if you just think to yourself, I'm just moving that whole thing over. Then when you're done transplanting everything that you want, just water it in so that that soil, there may be air holes or air pockets down in there, you want it to fill in, and you also wanted to give it a good drink of water afterwards. And you can use a mild fertilizer at this point as well. Just don't put it on too hard right now. That's my own opinion and my own experience of what has worked. I have a little tomato plant here that I'm going to just completely pick up out of here and move to another spot right next door here where I have other volunteer tomato plants. So somehow or other, this tomato plant came up over here, whereas the rest of them came up several feet away. But I'm glad to have it. So the spacing of mustard plants, roughly a foot apart. It's not an exact science. They can be crowded quite a bit because as you harvest the leaves, you're going to take them back down to the nub again. So, yeah, I'd say I'm going to wait for just a few more days before I harvest any of these leaves, and we'll have our first fresh mustard greens of the season. The only thing left for me to do now is to water it in. Thanks for watching. I hope that helped. Take a moment to visit my Etsy shop. You're going to find a garden journal all ready for you to print out. And if you prefer, there's an electronic version there as well. Now, both of those versions become a living document because it's going to help you track what's going on in your garden from season to season. And that will make you a successful gardener because you're going to see what worked and what didn't work. And there's lots of details here for you to see. So go to etsy.com/shop/your organic garden. Thanks again.